let's see how many takes we need for that spell to cast.
So we've crafted the spell, and then it's time to say welcome to the Stoned Witches podcast, where witches don't get burned, they get stoned.
Didn't see that coming. I like it. Good.
And this strain is Kali. Kali mist. So
not so soft then. Like
but she also has like the mama energy as well.
Yeah, but it's more like a tough mom, right? Like a tough love. Come on. Well, like, but you can do that.
But like, yeah. I mean, the spell is powerful because we are tough witches.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can use with some softness as well, with some gentleness as well.
Yeah. Sure.
And maybe that will also expand our capacity to expand minds.
Yeah.
I mean, we can be more gentle.
Yeah.
So we have a spell. It is our will.
It is our will to plant the seeds for gentle expansion of the limits of the mind. Yeah. First try. That was good.
So mote it be.
So be it. The gentle expansion, the limits of the mind.
There is just something burning that's different.
Just better.
I know, but it does make sense also. It does make sense also to commit to burn it for magic and rituals. Take the medicine as medicine, just like vaporized. It's an adjustment. So now that we are properly stoned, it might be time to introduce ourselves. I'm here with my friend Larissa, fellow Berlin witch, Berlin-based witch, and tattoo artist. And she combines the art of tattooing with witchcraft as well, or spirit. You call it spiritual tattooing.
I call it spiritual tattooing.
Spiritual tattooing. Yeah. For me, it's witchcraft. That's just the way I came to you.
It can be. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
The spirituality is like the big combination of all sorts of techniques and approaches. Exactly. So witchcraft is one of them.
A subset.
Exactly. Yeah. So with you I do witchcraft. With others I do awareness. So could be anything. Sometimes I don't even work with the customers. I work with the spirits who bring the customers.
Yeah. Told me that's a spooky story. Yeah, but before we dive into that, I'll also introduce myself. I'm Mariana, also a Berlin-based witch and the agent of change at Chaos Surfing. The channel. This is going to be broadcasted. And this is the second conversation of the Stoned Witch podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're also like easing into the format. But the format is basically we sit as witches, we get stoned, and we find a good topic of conversation and just give like the honest stream of consciousness that comes up between us, and we enjoy good belly laughters. Like that's the note. We allow ourselves to have like real good, honest, witchy belly laughter, and the audiences will have to take it.
Love the concept. At least as the one sitting here. Good.
Yeah, alright. Beautiful.
Who was the first one?
Georgia.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were sitting with Georgia, Judith and I in the kitchen, like having a smoke and having this super good conversation and super good laughter, and then like Georgia was like, we should be recording this. This could be a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like every stoner always says that.
Exactly. I was just about to say the one sentence. Every stone person says at least once in the times of smoking.
There's always these so good conversations when you're just like chilling in the kitchen, getting stoned or somewhere, and you have like, wow, this associative stream of conscious conversation. You think it's like pure genius, and it's like, this should have been recorded, and sometimes you don't remember it then later, right? True. So if it's not recorded in some way, it just gets lost in the sauce. So yeah, she said like we should do that, and then we were fantasizing about a podcast, and I was like, okay, let's do it for like weed is gonna be legal in Germany at the 1st of April. This was in winter when she was here, last winter. And then we tried to hit that, but we didn't make it. But like when she came in summer, then we finally recorded, and it was my idea to like call it the Stoned Witch.
Yeah, like it. I also like. I think you're the only other person, like except for myself, who actually can use the term witch, and not like without any judgment or as if it was something like pretty cool, just like. That's just what it is, because I only know like proper witches, but they all seem offended if someone calls them witch.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, really.
What?
Actually.
And that in the age of TikTok and witches of Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wondered if they never listened to Bibi Blocksberg when they were young, because that's what I grew up with. So always like Bibi Blocksberg, that was a proper witch, and she was so cool. Like I was always like, why would you think that's a bad thing? Like
for Halloween, like dressing up as a witch was like the best time of the year.
When you were younger?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, I only dressed up as a princess, to be honest.
No, I went for witch. Like cool. I did the princess thing, I think, till like maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But then when we moved to Mexico, and then we came to Halloween, it was pretty fast that I went for a witch.
Yeah, I mean when I was young, there I obviously wasn't in Mexico, so there was no Halloween. Mm-hmm. It was only Carnival.
Yeah, Carnival.
And there was not something you would dress up spooky or something like that.
Like I remember about in South Germany Carnival, there were witches, but it's like these hags with like big green noses, right? And hunchbacks, and they kind of like very like trollish kind of witch archetype. Of course, no little girl wants to be that.
And I think that's probably the image most people still have today
of witches.
Yeah, like even not like. I mean, I've been around with my friends, with other witches, and we would go in the woods like every Saturday, go into the woods, have like an altar set up, have rituals and calling in spirits and dancing around the fire and like doing drumming and stuff like that. But then they came to me at some point and were like, oh, you know, there's some people, they say we're witches, like we have to do something about it. And it's like, why? What? Why? Because I mean, we are, right? This is like a very witchy thing to do, to go into the woods and perform like ritual dancing around. That's like, what? It's just like, well, how would you call it? I really don't, I just don't get it. You know? So, but yeah, it's, I wanted to acknowledge that you are the only person I know that also uses the term just in a...
I know a couple other witches that just like, but they're a bit older. Some of them, let's say. But yeah, like like in the Hecate's channel, there's a couple of women that also stand by being like calling themselves a witch.
Yeah, I think there's something very empowering of like reclaiming this word, you know, and just be like,
I came with an acronym, like woman in touch with her chaos.
Okay. Charisma,
chaos.
But yeah, sure.
And it's also, in a way, I think like there's some women here in Berlin that call themselves sex witches.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then they run like this temples and like basically sex parties, but like with like spiritual, tantric, ritual overlay. And some of them, like, yeah, they publicly call themselves like sex witches, right? Like they usually, they came like, there's a couple of them, they came like from more like sex worker and then started doing some spiritual path and going into ritual and facilitating those other kinds of experiences.
Yeah, I don't know those, but yeah.
But yeah, I'll take it. I do call myself a witch. Sometimes a witch, sometimes a magician. But I do in out of this, like, this self-empowering womanhood. I like the term. Yeah. Why not?
I like it too.
Why not?
I like it too.
Why not? And yeah, I don't know. I think there's also something about this, like, just like being very liberated in your laughter and just like allowing yourself to be loud and take up space. That also makes a lot of, I think, the witch archetype. Like this, like.
I think in order to call yourself a witch, you actually need the ability to not give a fuck about the opinion of others. Because the witch has like so many things coming up in other people, you know. It could be something very fascinating because of the magical aspect, but then there's also fear. People fear the witch, right? So, and yeah, in most of the fairy tales, they, like, witches, they are the ones who look like they're super ugly and evil creatures and they eat children, you know, basically. And that's just like, witches eat children. And then there's the Christian thing that makes them something evil, satanic, like with the devil, sold their soul to the devil or whatsoever, you know. There are all these aspects. But there's also the old ways, the priestess ways, who would be witches, the wise ones, you know, the crone aspect and the healthy ways and all these things. And so everything comes up and it's very obvious. So in order to call yourself a witch, you just simply need not to care about whatever comes up with others. You know what you're doing and that's it. Like, you reclaim your magic. And you reclaim it by calling yourself a witch. I reclaim the witchcraft to be my natural form of being or of expression as well. So whatever others think. So, you know.
Well, we live in an age where witches don't get burned.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I mean, it still carries a certain risk, right? I mean, the witch is, I think, naturally an edge dweller, right? She's not fully accepted in any social circle, and then it as even to quote Terry Pratchett, the perfect size of a witch scone is one.
Well, except for Bibi Blocksberg again, she has like a whole family, like, and a whole bunch of witches around them, and they are all like, I mean, she's a girl at school, and she does her magic, and everyone knows, and they are all just like, oh no, she again, just don't, and then she does it, but it's all like fun, and they're completely accepted, and they're like literally flying around on their brooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a fucking awful twist of the narrative what like most storytelling has made out of witches, because witches were healers, were dispensers of wisdom, were people holding space, were people, you know, like also holding the part of like psychological healing for the community in a way, right? It's there was a role and wisdom to it, the wise woman, and it's with the rise of there was this BBC podcast that went into it, and it said that a lot what happened is the medicinal academia, when like universities came along and male doctors started taking over the care market.
Yeah.
And the main competitor for the highly paid doctors were the witch women and the healers that were not taking like super high fees because they had paid like higher education diploma at university, but you know, like doing the service to the community for I don't know what, like, you know, some sort of other exchange, right? Yeah,
I went into this when my daughter she went into this at school, and so we had to do some research on that. It was like quite interesting, but the whole topic kind of it also scared my daughter. She was just like, oh my god, they got burned. And just like, oh my god. Why, Mom? Why?
And there is, I've heard like a lot of people that openly also that they openly call themselves witches, and also go on social media saying, yeah, this is what I'm at. Even male witches, you know, like Dane Thomas, for example, right? And there's still like also the witch's wound, because it's vulnerable. Like it's vulnerable still to put yourself out there in the open and call yourself a witch.
Yeah, it's like it's literally from genetics and the wisdom of like or the remembrance of
being
the
fucking
history.
burned.
Exactly. You need to be willing to be burned at a stake as soon as you call yourself a witch. There's like this wound within you, like you have to be willing to accept whatever comes. Like
yeah. But today the sacrifice is rather like a social sacrifice.
Yes.
Right. So it's like,
well, depending on where you are, if you're in Africa, you call yourself a witch, that might still be.
Yeah. There are places.
But in Western and yes.
But I mean, the risk is still there. You know, tides can change as well. Politics change, systems crumble, fascism and stuff. Like situations can change. And now we're like digitally given an imprint into the internet, calling ourselves witches.
Yeah, exactly.
That like
okay, don't burn us.
Don't burn us.
Just
we
just
wanna get
don't.
stoned.
Just don't. Really, just like, okay, I do not give consent in being burned. I might have said you need to be willing to be burned. I'm like, no. Just to make it very clear. But yeah, I mean, as you said, like in a social way, it just takes some guts. But yeah, it's the same, I guess, like looking at my own as the same archetype actually. You have to not care so much what others think.
What others think. Yeah. 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 I think I'm mostly there. Here and there, I do care. Sometimes, not often. I don't. But there's still a part, like especially social media. Especially in social media, so there's still some uncomfortability.
Yeah.
About it.
Like being in front of a camera, you mean, or showing yourself in social media?
Just like, you know, being like the full witch narrative. Like I'm quite out with that on social media as well, but there's discomfort. There's discomfort. There's discomfort in it because like my social network and social media also includes a bunch of people like from my previous politics life, for example, and my career in atheism and political atheism. So like, yeah, this turn to now I'm like this weird chaos witch running pirate adventures, blah. There's still like a part of me in the back of my mind that's like a past version of myself that thinks like, oh my fucking god, Mariana, like what kind of level of knots are you that just like, you know.
Yeah, I see. I think I can understand that. I never had that. I mean, being like always the tallest and like just red hair. And just different, I guess. It was like I've been called a freaking witch like all my life, you know, even as a kid. And even back then it was the same. My reaction was always like, so what? I can't. You think I'm offended by that? It means you're literally saying I do have magic. Like what? Where's the offend in that? Like, well, thanks. I guess, you know.
And I use it.
Yes. I mean, I started very late in my life to use it, but at least that's also that's not true. I started late in my life to use it consciously. I wasn't conscious about.
When did you started consciously using witchcraft?
Well, I'm not sure if I should say.
Okay.
Well, I did the first spell when I was still a teenager, and it was a love spell, and it freaking worked. It didn't like work for a very long time, but at least for a moment. And I was so shocked because I didn't expect it to work. Right? It was just like this. Yeah, what else? I have nothing more to lose. You know, I'm just gonna freaking try this. And like he wanted to leave and that he didn't, and I was just like, whoopsie, you know, like, oh, that's so. And then I didn't touch anything. I had like all my books, but I didn't touch them until I would say like 2015, I guess. This is when I went to Nepal and work with the shamans and meet Kali, and basically like stepping more into this place of oneness, acceptance, and this playfulness with things, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't use witchcraft because I was scared of the opinion of others. That was legit, but I was scared myself. Like I grew up quite in a Christian family.
Me too.
And I've always had like a very, very close, but very personal and unrelated to church, but very close relationship to Joshua, like actually to the Christ thing, however I called him or perceived him. And for a very long time, that was like the only higher spirit that I would work with, you know. And yeah, but I was very, very much based in this thing like, ooh, I'm not supposed to do magic. That's bad. It was always like, okay, apparently there's white magic and black magic, and I don't know where the border is to. And so yeah, it felt like unsafe territory, and I didn't want to go there. And yeah, then I was sitting in Nepal, and everything, like all plans changed what I had booked, and it all was like, and all the shamans were all like, oh, we need to go to the freaking Kali in shock on 4,000 meters. Like it was completely freaking me out to see Kali and to give her offerings, and I was just like, who the fuck is Kali? And then they took us to this temple to show us who she was, and they were spilling the bloods of the animals and stuff like that. And I was just like, what the heck, you know?
Intense.
Why should I really? That's what I'm gonna do. I don't know. And I prayed to Jesus, and he just like literally, it was like probably the strongest vision I've ever had, and he was in front of me, and then out of the dark came Kali, and he just took her hand and he looked at me and he did my leg. I was just like, okay. And then I met her, and like this wild, dark, feminine goddess, and she was just amazing. And working with her after that just made me step into the space of non-judgmental playfulness, and reclaiming the wild woman archetype and this dark feminine aspects, like really bringing that back. And so that's when I started actively performing magic and using that. That's when I understood all the things about myself and my job also that I've been done in the past 10 years, and always wondering like, what the fuck is going on in my life? Why is this? Why do just like complete freaks come to me for tattoos, for example, and stuff like that, you know? And I didn't understand it, and it was just obvious that I would attract a very specific type of people. And then it all made sense.
Yeah, let's talk about your job, because we had an intention when we decided to come into this podcast together around opening some minds around tattooing in the spiritual community, right? Because there are some judgments going around, and people could hear a different perspective on on how tattooing can be as well a path for magic and spiritual growth and devotional path, maybe. Yeah,
sure. I mean, it's funny that our introduction, like our path into this topic now, led us through all these archetypes or these aspects that share the same judgmental space, you know, the space where other people have judgment about it and fear them and call them evil, you know. But so we started with witchcraft and Kali, same thing, you know. People is like, she's like, ooh, very like super scary, and people are scared of her, and so they call her evil and stuff like that. They fear her. And it's the same with tattooing, actually. It's like in usual society, it's always been that the outlaws, like the criminals, prostitutes,
sailors. At the beginning was sailors as well.
It was sailors, and then at some point it was British people. But however, very judgmental, small boxes, and I mean, it was gang members and stuff like that. But I would say mainly criminals, poor people, and a bit of like the sailors are also a bit of an outlaw anyways, because they're not really part of the society, right? It's also a very specific group of people. So, yeah, and even in the spiritual scene, like there's so much judgment around this topic. It's crazy, and it's really it's almost painful for me to see that. I myself have been judged like so many times by spiritual people who would actually, like, one time someone literally warned my friend. She had taken me to her teacher for a meditation thing, and afterwards he took her aside and he warned her about me, telling her that I'm like a he sees a darkness and witchcraft and stuff like that, and she shouldn't hang out with me and stuff like that. And the spiritual people, teachers, it's just like, it's crazy.
Just because of the tattoos?
I don't know if it was just because of the tattoos, but it was like, there is this strong trigger. But as I said, it could be the witchcraft. It could have been that I was working with Kali or whatever. It's like this. It's the same energy. It's something people see and they don't really understand it. And so they
feel intimidated somehow.
They feel intimidated, and they kind of, they're scared because there is still some programming going on, right? So some of the programs, I would say, sorry, I got distracted. Some of the programs that would come from history, society, some assumptions.
But that's just the Western story, right? Because if we look at different cultures, the art of tattooing had mostly ritual context often, right? Many African tribes, it was to initiate warriors in some way, or initiations into womanhood would receive tattoos. In other cultures, as you mentioned in our previous conversation, it was the priestesses that received tattoos, or the priests. So if we look at a broader perspective of the art of tattooing in culture, we find that spiritual tattooing has been an art practiced by humankind for millennia.
Exactly. Just as witchcraft has, or magic. And but that's exactly. It has always been a sacred rite of passage. Like, to make it easier. And in however form it was used, like in whatever direction it was going. But it has always been a sacred rite, and it was the shamans and the monks, even today, like the Buddhist monks, they do tattoos, like it's the medicine people would do the tattoos and also receive tattoos. And it always had like this magical aspect, or at least maybe it could be used as a talisman or something like that, but so it gets like this magical aspect, but at least it would bring some remembrance back, into the body. Some traditions, like the Maori, that like all the lines and the dots, it tells a story about who you are as part of the tribe. For the Vikings, for example, it was like symbols of their heritage, their stand in the society and all these things. If you were a warrior, you would get like receive specific tattoos and stuff like that. So it's remembrance, it's embodiment, it's like owning your powers. It has been healing. It could literally be anything. But it's like, it's such a potent way of bringing whatever you want basically into your body, because you're taking a vow basically and sealing it with your blood and pain.
So it's blood magic.
It is blood magic.
It is blood magic.
Yeah, literally, that's literally what it is.
It's blood magic. But I find it is powerful magic. Like basically in a chaos magic paradigm, there are like different approaches that Peter Carl proposed on like how to get into a state of gnosis, which is a state where the mind opens itself up to new information. Like you can have access to your subconscious mind and can bring in new information to your system. And one of those methods is pain gnosis, right? And pain gnosis, it's been practiced also in different cultures, like even like Catholic monks would flagellate themselves so they could talk to God.
Exactly.
Right?
In the Catholic Church, the stigmatization, like if you get the stigmata, that's like, then it's like the most sacred and holy thing that could happen to you, right? Like you need to be a freaking holy person to receive this, This literally, Jesus was like nailed on the cross and going through pain, and that's like the image. It's not his rising to the skies or whatever. No, it's always him on the cross being able to hold that pain for humanity. And at the same time, they're deeming like tattooing and telling people, saying like this is something really bad and it's very harmful for yourself if you do that, and it's just like, no, I want to say Jesus, just there's this hypocrisy about the topic of being able to go through pain, right?
Yeah, it's able to go through pain, but also I think it's this like releasing into the pain, right?
Yes.
That creates this state of gnosis.
Yes.
I think this is,
you have
like
to surrender.
Fakirs, for example, as well, right? This practice as well, like on walking on nails or fire, or whatnot, and getting into that state of gnosis is just like surrender into the pain.
Exactly. It's about acceptance and surrender. And people who are willing to do so also in a tattoo session, they don't suffer, for example. It's like with any kind of pain that comes to you, if you can relax into that pain, that's it. And also there's something very healing about it, because like, nothing brings you into your body as much as pain. So for people who have like
pleasure, well, but like it's two sides of the coins, right? Like
exactly,
ecstasy and pleasure, and the other side is pain. I was just thinking, this new tattoo you gave me, it was the least painful tattoo I've ever received. And I was wondering though, if like the tools you have now are also just that much more evolved that they don't cause that much more pain, or if it's like the body part of it.
It's the body part.
It's the body part, like, and
the others were on your back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, also just yesterday I heard that I'm a very, very soft tattooer. So.
But the one on my back did have like much more moments of intense pain, I remember as well. That were still good to take, and I remember I was using it very consciously as well to look at the sigil that I had painted also. I had put on the floor, right? So like to really impregnate that sigil during the pain gnosis. So I like leaned into the pain to look at the sigil, which is like one of the recommended ways to charge sigils into your subconscious. But this one, there were like some moments of like, but It was not as intense as I remember my other tattoos.
So, can you tell me again what the one on your back was about? The figure?
Well, can I tell the internet what the sigil was about?
No, just okay. You can say, is it a painful topic? Is it connected to some?
It was. Let's say it was a spell of unfurling, right? Like the spell was created within a container with another witch, Melissa Tufton. Is also a woman that calls herself a witch, and women's. And in that container, kind of like the spell emerged, and it like really hit, and it was about the container. He's unfurl, and the spell was about me realizing that I am too powerful to nurture my medicine, and to like it kind of was a spell for me to go full into like, okay, yeah, this is the path I'm going to walk, and I have to own that I have a medicine to share, and that I need to just like do it and dare it.
Okay, get it.
And go for it.
And what was the other one that was underneath? Because it was a cover up.
Ooh. Well, that was my teenage tramp stamp.
Okay, so if you just take a moment and you just connect the dots, yeah, teenage tramp stamp, then stepping up into your power and reclaiming and owning your powers, like your everything, on the spot, on the second sacral chakra, feminine center. But the passive part, because it's on the back. So just connect the dots and tell me if you're still wondering why that was so much more painful than the one you got on your shoulder.
Fuck, man. I'm just remembering also like how intense it was when you finished that circle. It's like...
Can you see? It's like these things, and that's the power of tattoo, right? If you consciously set up the space, like also I wish every tattooist knew about that. They need to they really need to step up in their knowledge and their consciousness about these things, like in my opinion, because then you can open up this completely different level of tattooing, right? That it's become so powerful, this intensity of going through that and really just bringing in all these aspects and just seeing what's actually happening. Like you're releasing this through the pain, through the power of pain, you know.
You're encoding it deep into the body,
with
deep
blood, pain, with everything, and it takes like
sacrifice.
Really, it's deeply devotional work.
Yeah.
To yourself, like really.
And it's a commitment.
Yes,
it's a commitment. No, it's like I'm this is what I'm gonna do. And I must say, between creating the sigils and tattooing them, for each time I let pass 2 years. You know, I had the spell like the one on my back. I had it painted somewhere, and I had it like for a year hanging in the temple, and I was looking at it every day for a year until I decided, yes, I'm gonna tattoo it. And then it still took a while until finding you and making it happen and having the money and going like, yeah, this is the time now to do it. And with this tattoo, it's also 2 years ago that I created the sigil and the promise to put that sigil for the magic on my body, so to like a lifelong commitment to a being I created as a ritual, and it felt like it was owed And I think it's funny though, because also I had imagined it much smaller, but I think because of the delay, and I also wanted now to be like, okay.
Well, you already had the dots there.
Yeah, the dots, you connected the dots. That's right. Like the dot, I had put some dots during the ritual, the creating ritual, and it was a commitment that they would follow a tattoo and follow the sigil.
I love it in you.
I love it. I really love it. Like, I really fucking love it. You know, like, every morning I watch it, and it's good because it then reminds me also to connect and feed, and you know, like, and it's like I can tap on it on my shoulder. It's like, you know, it's like good work, good work, good work. And it's like also motivating me to get like really ripped, you know, like exercise, and so it's like the shoulder pops out more, like arms. Like,
yeah,
really
I need to exercise.
But and it's part of the magic that I call it for. Like, to motivate my ass to get in shape so that I can take up martial arts training again.
Okay. I think, I mean, looks great.
I love it.
And I love the size, like, really. And it's such a, because the way it sits on your shoulder, it's also like, it's as if there was like really different aspects of it. From here, I don't see the upper part, so I only see this almost like a little moon with some lines in it.
An anarchy. That's what she said. There's an anarchy sign. I said, and I was like, yeah, that's fitting too. No, I love it, and I love your technique of making it look as if you used ink and a pencil to splash it on my shoulder, and the level of detail that makes this appearance happen, and yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it was fun to do.
It was very fun to do. I enjoyed that a lot, and I really appreciate your craft of like creating a ritual space and a ritual container for doing that, and yeah, it felt like we were just like doing this magic together, and that you were gifting me that. Yeah. So I shall return. And yeah, for the dragon. And I'm actually liking starting to like the idea of the dragon on the belly. But I also need to get my belly a bit more in shape for that. So
okay.
There's some motivation.
There's some motivation on your shoulder.
There's some motivation on my shoulder to now get my belly a bit more in shape, and then next year I'll come for the dragon.
Okay. I'm planning on leaving.
I know.
Better be quick.
Yes, I know.
Or join.
Yeah. To Australia. I don't know about the Bali thing, but like when I heard it's for, it doesn't feel a strong resonance at first, and also I don't know. I had a different yesterday with the solstice when we were reading cards with this creature over here that's doing our tech support.
Very supportive.
The tech support is napping. We had a like you know, I'm running this pirate expedition container, and we had like this and I'm with this idea of the Chaos Monastery, and I was like, what if the Chaos Monastery is an actual ship, you know? And with the equinox, the spring equinox, we sail from the South American, from the Caribbean to Europe, and spend the summer in Europe. And with the Caps equinox, we sail back to the Americas, spend the winters in the Americas.
I can see you doing that.
Yeah. I can see myself doing that as well.
See you with it. Nice. Are you the captain?
I'm not sure. Like, it's interesting because right now, as you know, I call myself Captain Mavis in this expedition, and I have this imaginary ship called the Pipilata, and that's
and you're the captain there, right? I mean,
I'm the captain there. That's
so
my
that's
ship.
why
That's my ship. But when I was feeling into it yesterday, like in this other ship, will I be the captain? Will I be like the actual captain of an actual ship on the fucking sea? Like, what qualifies me to that? I don't know. And I was feeling into it, and there was an openness for like, maybe I'm not the captain on the ship. Maybe someone else is the captain on the ship, and I have a different role because, more maybe it's more of the priestess witch role.
I think you need to be the captain.
Yeah, I need to be the captain.
Honestly, you don't need to do anything as the captain. You just need your people
to
do their jobs. Yeah. So you just need to navigate the people. You don't have to navigate the actual ship, right? Yeah. You have some people who know actual sailors would be good.
Yeah, like, actual sailors. I know some actual sailors. And it's kind of So I feel that more right now than a priestesses retreat in Bali, but like maybe we come around with our ship as well.
Yeah, that would be nice. I can also see that happening.
We don't have to sail the same way every way, so we can do sometimes the Americas and sometimes the Bali expedition.
Definitely,
all the way
definitely.
Around. There's possibilities, so that maybe,
yeah.
But I'm actually like, when we came up with this idea yesterday, I was like, and then it's pirate time shift. It's the pirate time shift.
I can totally see that. Like, same series, different storyline going, and it's like, you still share the story. You do the pirate stuff, and they do the whatever stuff. I do the kangaroo stuff. I don't know.
The witches of Berlin that are also like looking for their way out of Berlin.
Yeah. Open for gentle expansions of the limits of the mind.
Gentle expansion of the limits of the mind. That's sometimes gentle relocation.
Exactly.
For further expansion.
Well, I mean, at least it's like, that's why I actually, my intention is to step into a place of darkness, to step into the dark cauldron of not knowing myself, basically. I want to step into this space. I love Berlin. I still love it. I love my apartment. I love my neighborhood. Great people. However, it's like, I feel like I know everything. I know every little way, and I know myself in every single role that I play in this surrounding. I need to take myself out of this and into a situation where I don't know shit, and I don't know myself, and that's like the dark cauldron of not knowing, of potential, in which I'm able to create a different magic, a different kind of magic, a new reality. I can't do that from here because I'm too hung up in my routine patterns and programs and
and also the roles people cast you into, in a way, and the roles you play in the social field. So relocation is marvelous for the brain as well, to like reconfigure itself, because it doesn't have any strategy to navigate the new territory.
Exactly.
And needs to find like completely new routines, new strategies, new it's like new ways of navigating.
Exactly.
But
looking forward to that.
Keeping the neuroplasticity rolling. All right. Yeah. Spiritual tattooing. I do feel it. I feel gratitude for you inking me. And I do wish also for people to open their mind around this, because it's powerful. I feel it's powerful. I feel
It is.
like the other tattoos I made, only in hindsight I realize how powerful of a spell I have cast on myself, right? The tramp stamp was just completely like a, teenage thing of rebelliousness, of like, let's skip physics and go get a tattoo. And we did, and it was just like, okay, and then we were like the cool, sexy girls with like tattoo on the lower back.
But even that one,
you cast a spell on yourself, like it's
exactly. But how much more powerful this could have been? Even the tramp stamp, what did you want? You wanted to be more sexy, right? As young girls, and you put it right on the sacral center again. So just using that as a rite of passage of a young woman to activate their own beauty, their sexiness, their embodying of the lover archetype thing. If you set up the space consciously and let the girls also express the emotions, give space if they want to moan, if they want to cry, if they want to do whatever it takes, but usually, for this, girls walk into a tattoo shop and they're just like people who don't know anything about it, and they're super cool, cool tattoo artists and like great artists and whatever, and maybe they're even like super nice, but still there are other people around usually, and there's just not the safe space to really express and even really feel into that. Like usually you suppress like the pain or whatever comes up because you don't want to show, because you don't know the people, it's just not safe to express this. But yeah, the magic becomes so much more powerful if that space is given to people.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole different thing. Like even a tramp stamp becomes like a super empowering, meaningful rite of passage.
To activate sexuality.
Exactly.
To activate
and this can transform then step up as you step from, basically, let's say you step from the lover archetype into the mother archetype. You need that empowerment of, okay, now I want to embody my full power and not be scared of all it brings. But this tramp stamp is still part of that, right?
Yeah.
It's also not, it's not something, we didn't make it something completely different.
Yeah,
we just transformed it. We integrated it, exactly. So this whole process is just it's huge, it's a huge personal growth magic ritual ceremony, like the whole thing, if you look at the journey, and it's so meaningful, and people don't understand that. Like, you can learn so much about yourself. I usually in my sessions, I look at everything, like how the technical stuff is working. Is there something happening in the space? Am I spilling the ink? Stuff like that, and it all comes together. Like the whole thing becomes like an oracle for this topic.
I felt you were super attuned, because there were like many moments when my energy just like started really rushing through my body, and my body started shaking, and you were like super attuned to like, okay, retract, hold a space for that to happen, breathe with me, allow that energy to move through. And then when I came back to a calm breathing, resume the work, and also support me in going back into the pain and going back into the process.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to do that. And also I remember that, oh no, maybe I might be wrong, I might be confuse you with someone else, but usually I point out when there's like, for example, a difference, someone is receiving the left side pretty easy, but having more pain on the right side and really struggling there, or the other way around, you know, or some specific parts of the body, I will usually mention that and just like give attention to that spot, like what's connected to exactly that spot, you know, and so it can like really consciously be moved and understood and, you know, looked at and observed. And consciously go into this space and just accept what comes up in order to release what needs to be released and attract what wants to be attracted through this passage, basically. Does make sense?
I don't remember exactly where it was, but I just remember that I felt very guided in the process, and I felt very, very contained. I felt freaking powerful to receive that tattoo. I really felt very empowering, and I think a lot has shifted for me as well since then in terms of that. I think the spell is still unfurling, and it will continue to do so because that was also how it was formulated. Right? It was a claiming, but it was also kind of like you claim that power and then it starts unfurling, right? It's not like and it's all there. You also have to like to grow and evolve into it. And I think that is what I think, it feels for me that this sort of tattoos are initiations, right? They initiate a process. They're a catalyst. It's not like instant transformation. But it's like a catalyst for transformation. Exactly. It's like a new signal. It's like okay, this is a commitment. It puts you on a path.
Exactly.
And you can play with it very consciously, and because it's like inscribed into the body and through the pain gnosis and to the commitment to the form on the body, right? It's not like I'm gonna do this thing and it's gonna be painful and then it's gonna disappear again, but it's like, no, it's gonna be there, visible, either until you die or you decide to do a cover-up on it. Or laser remove it. That's also an option, right? But
it doesn't matter because the imprint in the body is there. The energetic imprint is there because it's, in the end, it's scars. At least scars. So and the information, the intention is set. Was everything all right there?
I don't know.
We need technical support.
Let me see if it's still. I don't know if it's still. Alright. Oh, well, maybe we lost the video, but we still have the audio rolling for sure, because it rolls on a different tape.
So where were we? I don't know.
We were into that the tattoos create an initiation, and even if you would remove the ink, the imprint is the imprint on the body is still there, and the initiation has taken place. The process has initiated, right?
Exactly.
Even if you take the ink back, the spell is done. So to
exactly.
say.
But it cannot only be used as initiation for something. It's not only a start. It can also be used as an ending. You know, it can be used as a remembrance, and it can be used as tool, like could literally use it as like some kind of wand. You know, if you create something. Sometimes people create, and it can just be a line, or that something like a magic symbol that channels energy. You know, you can literally create a tool, and so there's so much you can do with that kind of art. On a very, very simple psychological level, you create beauty and comfort. You know, it's like I've had several of customers who would be self-destructive and harm themselves and cut themselves. And there was like this one girl, and it was just heartbreaking to see her. Yeah, she would be like pulling a knife like onto in her shoulder down to the bones and just rip it down like onto the hand, just be that kind of hateful towards her own body. And she came for tattooing and like to cover some of the scars. And there's people who literally find something beautiful about their own bodies for the first time in their lives. After a tattoo session, they look into the mirror and finally for the first time they can find something that they actually like about themselves. And that's not even like a magical thing, it's not just a very psychological thing on a not so freaky spiritual level, but just something that is very understandable about themselves. And it's still so powerful for them, like really it's so healing to do that. And this girl, for example, she got lots of tattoos in the years after that, after she came the first time, because she realized even in times where she would have like these attacks and she would start hurting herself again, she doesn't harm the tattoo part, because that's the part she would actually like, she liked the tattoos. And even if it was something very unconscious about attacking herself, she didn't harm these tattoos. So she figured in her like good times that she would rather get more tattoos so she doesn't harm herself so much anymore.
She adorns her body, so okay.
And it worked, it literally brought healing. And I've had like really so many dozens of people with like similar things going on.
I, for example, also a friend of mine made a sigil on his foot for like always being anchored in himself, right? Yes. So like setting an anchor.
Yeah, I mean there is so much power on all different kinds of levels. Like really, for myself, for example, it's like when I started getting tattooed, it was a great tool for, first of all, like bringing sovereignty to my body, into my physical being, because I've known like many kinds of I don't know, like assaults or like physical crossing boundaries and stuff like that, and it literally, like, I mean, back at the times there was nobody really tattooed, so that was like what, 25 years ago or something like that, and when I started getting my arms tattooed, it was literally like an armor. It would literally repel the wrong people from my space, because they would look at me and just be like judgmental and or scared or intimidated or whatsoever, and it would attract the right kind of people, as I thought that would be the right kind of people with open minds, like the rebellious people, and like others who like this kind of art. And there was it really helped me reclaiming that sovereignty around around the topic of beauty. I was consciously challenging like beauty standards. Because I've always seen as this, you look so classically beautiful, because I was tall and redhead and just this super pale skin, and it was like some kind of special thing, but always I was very skinny, like model size skinny, and people would always be like, just a classic beauty with the red hair, and then I ruined it, and it's like, and then in the first years people will always say like, why did you do that? You're so beautiful. And I was just like, fuck you, I'm still beautiful. There's different kind of beauty, and it's like it's a very powerful thing to do that and really reclaim this sovereignty. It's my fucking body, and if you think beauty is about perfection or your standards, my beauty is like depending on your standards, then I'm just telling you to fuck off. Yeah, fuck you.
No.
was a very rebellious act to do and very empowering.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Not on that level, but I can. I get the feeling. I get the feeling. It's like I didn't get that same feedback because I'm not as full of tattoos with you, but I got my father super enraged when he found the first tattoo, right? And the second one, like the big one. The second one was the big one on the back, the sun. But I didn't do that until like shortly before finishing my master's thesis, my magister thesis. I had done a paper. My master's thesis was about Dia de los Muertos. And I went a bit into Aztec lore, Aztec religion, and how it kind of like merged with like Spanish religious in the 16th century. So I was also went into a deep dive hole of like blood sacrifice kind of lore, and I did the tattoo. This was the first that was sort of like as an intentional blood sacrifice to the sun god. It's like there's a sun god, Aztec sun god Tonatiuh as part of the design in my tattoo. You can't see it anymore that well because the fine lining ate up the design, the mask. Very fine lining. But yeah, it was like half the face of the sun god Tonatiuh, and then it's like a sun and a lion, and it is actually a symbol. I didn't know about sigil magic back then, but I asked a friend that's a designer to create me a design that kind of represents the sentence of a song that in Spanish goes, pero tú siempre estás ahí, tan firme como el sol, tan libre como el león, nunca te doblarás. So you will always be there, as firm as the sun, as free as the lion. You will never bend. And I did that intentionally before I went into politics, right? It was like, okay, this is this is a spell.
I see.
It hasn't.
I see audio.
Chaos magic.
Chaos magic. magic. Yeah, we're talking about.
We were talking about witches and then
about
Kali and then tattoos.
Like about I was sharing a story about my tattoo on my back, and how it was an intentional blood offering.
Oh, yeah.
After having taken a deep dive into Aztec lore and creating a spell out of a song line.
True.
That felt empowering and invigorating, but that also, causing me to break instead of to bend. And we were talking about your tattoos not having been that intentional to that point until much later, and realizing the power that putting ink on your body has as imprints on your body as well. And I think we can make like a caveat out of that as well, right? Because a lot of people are very unconscious about the symbols they tattoo on their body, or what information is they're giving. And even though, as I said, like I was not that aware for the very first tattoo, it did have an imprint more than I could have thought of. The second one was more intentional. The third one, I sort of knew what I was doing, and setting that one as a sacred cow, and I was inviting the balance of order and disorder into my life. Little did I know how much deep dive into disorder I had to take to figure that one out. Yeah, sort of. And then I learned about chaos magic. I was talking about that chaos magic caught my methodological agnostic mind and invited it back into magic, and back into the possibility of magic. And when you open your mind to the possibility of magic, then you can let your magic unfold as well, right?
Exactly.
You can let your magic unfold as well. And it's not that I was scared of it, but I had sort of like forsaken it, say. I had put it aside. I had like chosen a path of mind and analytical inquiry that sort of like disconnected me. And I think one thing that also was pivotal, I think, is like birth control. And when I dropped birth control pills, that shifted again for me as well. That I felt like I was connected back to my magic, connecting back to the cycle and to the blood, like the more natural blood flow. That was a shift for me, going back to that. And that also happened like way into my 30s, that I came back.
Interesting. For me, it happened like in my 20s already, but it literally marks like a very kind of a superficial life, and it was like shortly before I moved to Berlin, maybe a year or two before I moved to Berlin, something like that. And I was
It was also before moving to Berlin. Berlin has definitely some crazy magic going on. Like
definitely,
it's a funky chaos vortex of its own.
Exactly, it's super intense. You need to be able to enjoy the ride, like whatever.
I don't know if I'm enjoying it that much.
That's why you're considering going away, just as I do. But back then, I freaking loved it when I came here. It was like the best thing. It was literally like the most magical years of my life here. Like it really.
Well, yeah, the intensity of the city and all the experiences you can make in the city is like also just like a rapid accelerator for change and growth, if you allow it to, right? Because you can just like have crazy different experiences every fucking day if you seek them out. So it's also it's like you keep on your toes and your plasticity keeps running and you kind of like keep evolving, growing, changing game worlds as well if you want. So
it's the only, I think it's like that's the main reason why I'm actually, or why I was actually so able to stay in one place for such a long time. I never would have guessed that I would be able to do that, but I've been living in the same place for 15 years now, and the only way that I can actually stand that is because everything around me shifts and changes constantly. You know, it's just like there's so much movement around me that it's okay to stay.
Have a nest.
Yeah. So
a layer.
Yeah.
The witch's layer.
Exactly. Like
for
my
me,
little egg in my little cauldron.
It's for me here as well. This place is kind of like I get it from a lot of people who say like I call it the magical refugium. So it's also I think a lot of people notice the quality as well when they enter the space. It's like, okay, there's a layer of protection from the outside chaos of Berlin.
So this room's name is the Magical Refugium?
This room is my temple, but the whole apartment is the Magical Refugium because I manifested it with a spell of like a servitor to help me find a gemeinsames magisches Refugium.
Okay, nice.
It was always meant to be shared.
Did you know that my tattoo room has blessed? Did you know that my tattoo room has a name? It's the Tiny Tattoo Temple.
Tiny Tattoo Temple. Yeah.
I mean, it's tiny.
It's tiny. It's tiny, but it's powerful. Yeah. I'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Before you go. I think I do want to drive on before you go.
Okay.
Somewhere around February. After this Saturn transit cycle.
See.
Still around in February now.
Hopefully, no, not hopefully. Hopefully not. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
I think I'm still around in February. Yeah, my first idea was leaving in February, but I don't think it's very realistic, to be honest. Probably more going to be March, April-ish.
Yeah. I'm counting on that. I'm gonna like keep doing the workouts and a bit more.
Are you going to the gym again?
Right now I'm doing home workouts with kettlebells, and I got now for Christmas from my aunt like another dumbbell set and another heavier kettlebell.
Okay.
So I'm doing kettlebell, focus on core exercise right now. But it also trains arms and legs. Good body workout, and I'm enjoying it here. It's lowering the bar, the threshold for me in winter to go out of the house is like, oh, I have to like collect a lot of fucks to make it out of the house. And just being able to do my body workouts here at home reduces die Hemmschwelle und den Schweinehund, und dann mache ich es halt auch häufiger.
It's interesting. For me, it's the other way around. Like, I really want to go outside of my house. So going to the gym then is like, okay, I actually have a reason to leave the house, and I really want to leave the house. But then I realized, because I just signed up for 3 months, and I went in and I realized I really don't like to do sports. Basically.
Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. For me, it's the other way around. Like, I actually, when I get into it, I really start enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because I was a very sporty teenager.
Yeah, me too.
And I like my body remembers somehow, and it's like, yeah, that used to be awesome feeling, you know, like feeling strong and feeling pain. I want to get back to that, and it just takes a bit of a couple of weeks of consistency, and then you start seeing results, and then you start seeing like, yeah, okay, this is awesome, like, and the body starts missing it if you don't do it.
But you know, that's the thing, I can completely relate to that, and I really like the results that I get from doing sports, the way that my body feels, and like the way that I look and all these things. But I just don't really like to do the sports in the moment. Like, I really don't enjoy that. And it's very difficult for me to motivate myself enough to do stuff that I don't like to do. That's just, so it really takes some strength, but I'm determined to, I'm gonna go tomorrow. So I'm gonna do it.
Maybe a new tattoo could help you in that.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I think we need to wrap it up now.
Yes.
I'm starting to feel hunger, and I still have another quest that requires a lot of blah blah tonight.
Well, I need to go back home and do the mom magic.
The mom magic, yeah. But it has been lovely. I've enjoyed this conversation. I hope like we got most of it.
We'll see. I mean, we talked a lot as well, so we probably
yeah. Let's see what comes out of it. And yeah, this has been the second transmission of the Stoned Witches podcast. Because fortunately, if we out ourselves in these days, we don't get burned.
But we might get stoned. Yeah. So we did.
Beautiful. Thank you, Larissa, for coming by, and I hope
for listening to me.
People get the message to like be mindful of what you put on your skin, and when you do decide to put on the skin, seek someone out that knows how to hold that ritual space, so that the ink you commit to your body can unfold beautifully in your life and support your journey in a powerful way.
And if you're a tattoo artist by any chance and you want to learn more about this,
she's taking apprentices. Yeah, that's such a great, like, being at the time where you like start taking apprentices. It's good. Yeah, you're also on the path of elderhood.
I really gotta go now though, so this this talk must end now.
Yeah, let's not go into that right now. No, but it's something beautiful, right? It's something beautiful to reach that stage where you have something to transmit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I had an apprentice like some years back, just for tattooing, you know, like, but proper apprentice. She came to me like every day and like old school, setting up the space and doing all that stuff. But it's like really, it's time to, not like a real apprenticeship, as I have like these different trainings, right? A tattooist apprentice and personal apprentice, like to someone who really wants some teachings, like in a physical space, you know, and but also a format for the tattoo artists who just want to be the magician's apprentice.
Yes, the witch's
apprentice.
The witch's apprentice.
Exactly.
I might have a spot as well for a witch's apprentice. I got approached by someone, and we did start some collaboration, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, it didn't really work out. It's on hold at least for now. So, but I warmed up to the idea of having a witch's apprentice, so I'm also open for an apprentice.
Yeah. It's time. It's time to share the wisdom. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, I want to hug.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay.
Feel free.
What? What did you say?
Just feel free.
Just stop the camera when he'll stop the camera. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. Just